Hello everyone, I hope you're doing great. In this video, I want to talk about my interview with Soonchunhyang University about my major medical IT engineering. Also, I'm gonna give you some tips and some sample questions which might help you if you're getting prepared for your next interview. So watch till the end, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's go. The first question that they asked me was, why Korea? Why Soonchunhyang University? In my case, I said I used some of the sentences that I already wrote in my personal statement because I already mentioned like why I chose Korea and why specifically Soonchunhyang University and why my major. So for this question, you can mention like why you chose Korea and then the advantages of like studying abroad, especially in Korea. And then you can mention the points, like the positive points about your major, about the specific university that you have chosen. Also, you can mention like you have got some information about someone who has already staying in Korea, studying in Korea, or like been studying in that your chosen university. The second question that they asked me was, do you have any educational background in your chosen major? Why did you choose it? So in my situation, I had done 2 internships in hospital, which I had to work with medical devices, like devices that they work in medical field. Also I mentioned that my mother is a nurse, so since childhood, I was familiar with the like hospital environment. Also many night shifts, I went with her to hospital, so it catch up my interest and I chose to do my career in a way that I can work in hospital or medical field or related stuffs. Question number 3 that they asked me was about there are differences between 2 countries like my country and Korea, like culture differences, different language, different food, and different behavior. How I'm gonna manage in different situations. So first of all, I mentioned that I already have some cyber Korean friends, although we have differences, but we never had any problem, or like if there was anything, we tried to fix it. About the food, I've already tried Korean food and I think I'm gonna really like it. And for the language, I already started learning a few basics about the language, and like I don't think if I'm gonna have any problem for it. Question number 4 that they asked me was about if I have any experience of living alone, which I mentioned I've already done 4 years of volunteer activity, which was in a different city from the city that I used to live back in my country. So basically there was time that like I had to go there and like stay there alone for a couple of days. Also, I mentioned after I graduated from high school, I've been working as an English teacher, so I already know how to manage my money and I already have experience on living on my own money. Question number 5, she asked me, imagine you have to do a university project which after submitting it, your professor is not satisfied with your result. What will you do? This question was one of the questions that it was unexpected for me. By the way, my answer was, since I'm already an English teacher, I also sometimes get angry with my students. It's because like I care about them. So if that situation also happened for me, I know I have to ask my professor what's the problem with it. Ask for help to do the project better and submit it again. Question number 6 was why you think you are a good candidate to be chosen. So this question was one of the questions that I actually prepared for it, but hoping that they're not gonna ask me. I mean, it's kind of hard to say positive points about yourself, or even like if you want to say negative points about yourself, you don't know like is it gonna give them a negative side of me. So I said some positive points about myself because like I already had experience of living alone and like also managing my money and then working with medical devices. So the major that I chosen is like what I really want. I already am familiar with it, so I'm gonna do my best in my major. Also, since I already have lived on my own, I know how to live in different situations in another country on my own. And then I think it might be also good to say one negative point, because it also shows how you're aware, or like you're really familiar with yourself, and like you know both good points and bad points about yourself. I mentioned I'm kind of perfectionist, which I want to do everything as the best. It's really sometimes hard for me to submit my works by the deadline, because I really want to work hard on it and like get the best results. So yeah, that was the negative point which I said, which was not too much negative, and like I also mentioned something negative. Question 8 which they asked me was level of my Korean and English. So for English, I mentioned I already had a TOEFL exam which I got 112 out of 120. And then for Korean, I think you might know about Sejong Institute, which is like a Korean institute in each country, in many countries. So I actually applied for that one, and I was accepted, and like I was doing the first level. So I mentioned that I already know some basics about Korean language. So that was my interview. Almost took around 8 minutes. About the language of interview, it's like be chosen by you, and in my case I did it in English, but I already prepared a short introduction in Korean for the beginning of my interview, in case that like they ask me like introduce yourself, which they didn't ask me, but I also recommend to you, in case that they're gonna ask you introduce yourself, have a short introduction of yourself in Korea, even though you're gonna do your interview in English. And here we go, I'm gonna give you some tips for your interview. First of all, prepare as much as you can. Think about the questions that they might ask you. Also, search for it a lot. There are a lot of sample questions either on Google or like YouTube. Also, don't forget to check the description. There is a link for interview sample questions, which I already prepared. You can also use that one. Be familiar with your personal statement and study plan. Most of the questions are based on your essays. Don't memorize them actually, because it might also make you confused, but like be familiar with whatever you have written on them. Like the day before your interview, it's better to like read whatever you have wrote on your essays for like a couple of times. Also, as I told you, it's gonna be nice if you prepare a short introduction in Korean, which is gonna give them nice impression of you. Also, it's better to think about what you're gonna wear, and it's better to really wear something formal. In my case, I remember I wear a black suit with white top in
black top, big t-shirt, Billy.
With white top inside. Also wear something which is comfortable for you. Last but not least, be comfortable during your interview. Of course, you're gonna face some questions that you didn't prepare for, because interviewers they want to see your reaction in different and unexpected situations. So if you get those kind of questions, just don't panic and think about what you can answer in that moment and in that situation, and don't forget to give them positive vibe of yourself. Also, I think it's better not to forget smiling. Interviewers not only pay attention to your answers, but they also pay attention to your behavior. Also, make sure to check your gadgets and like internet connection before your interview, to make sure there won't be any disconnection at all. And also double check the time and the date, because usually when they send you the email for your interview, it's based on Korea time, so check the time differences as well. I hope this video helps you. If you have any more questions, you can ask in comments. I'm gonna answer for sure. You can also contact me on Instagram. If you have any upcoming interview, I hope you're gonna do well on it. See you in the next video, and bye bye.